How's it going, guys? Atlanta race review. Real quick, just want to say I'm sorry if I don't go into too much detail like I usually do. I actually have to go study for a couple of college exams, so it's probably going to be kind of a quick video. So if I miss things that you wanted me to talk about, again, I apologize. I'll try to get as much done as I can, talk about as many things as I can. So let's go. Atlanta, I don't know what the name of the race was. Quick Trips Fold 500 or something like that. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't pay much attention to it. I was watching Arsenal get trashed 3-0, so... But in the beginning, we had a lengthy rain delay. To be honest, I did not think we'd be getting this race in at all, and I was hoping we wouldn't. I'm sorry to anyone who actually went to the race. Obviously, you want to get the race in, but I was hoping that we wouldn't get the race in, so for my personal benefits, I could, focus on studying and stuff and not have to make a race review, but now I'm here making a race review. But we got the entire race in, so that is good news. No shortened race, no nothing like that. And when the race started, it was pretty much a typical Atlanta race. Everyone was really sliding around. I will talk about what a lot of people want to talk about, and that's the Chevys, the bow ties. They were not that strong, including Kyle Larson. They were just kind of mediocre. Kyle Larson was a 7th, 8th place car most of the day. The Hendrick cars were abysmal. Let's say William Byron went a lap down within the first stage, and a lot of people kind of poked fun at him. But guys, it's his second career Cup start. Just give him a break. He'll get there. Just let him learn this year. I'm not putting any pressure on William Byron to do absolutely anything this year. I don't care what he does. Just let him complete laps and get experience. The first stage was very simple, and obviously you have Kevin Harvick, who's one of the fastest guys at Atlanta, has been every single year, kind of like a Phoenix thing where he's just fast, and he would win stage 1. He'd get that one playoff point that is very important. Along with Bowyer, Keselowski, Truex, and Almirola in the top 5, what do you notice? You see Fords and you see Toyotas. That's really what's gathering up most of the top 10, with Larson in there as well as a Chevy, and that was really it for most of the time throughout the race. Jimmie Johnson would have an incident later on in the race, just spinning out, coming out of 2. I think a tire went down for him, and then coming to pit road, his right front tire kind of came apart and damaged the fender, and his race was basically done at that point. He would go about 4 laps down and finish somewhere in the back. Stage 2 ended a little bit differently because of that caution, and Keselowski would actually win the stage, with Harvick actually placing 5th. Now, this one didn't really matter as much. Yeah, Keselowski gets that one playoff point, but Keselowski still couldn't really compete with Harvick, and then you would go into the final stage where it was green for a lot of the race, and you had Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano on one strategy where they wanted to do what Jimmie Johnson did a couple years ago and pit on one less pit stop, so they would run about 50 laps to say on tires, while Harvick and Keselowski and those other guys take about, I would say, 35 to 40 laps on tires and then pit. So they're on a three-stop strategy, while Logano and Hamlin are on a 2-stop strategy, and they thought it would work, but the thing is, when you have a rocket ship like Kevin Harvick had, it wasn't working. It did get Denny Hamlin and Logano in a better positions, I would say, but it wasn't going to help them win the race at all. And then Trevor Bayne would blow his engine, and that's the most smoke I've ever seen in a blown engine. I mean, that thing covered the entire track. And actually, Bubba Wallace got into the back of Stenhouse because of it, because you can't see a damn thing when you're going into the smoke. And when you are on worn tires, trust me, it makes sense. When you're on worn tires and you want to get on the brakes, it's really hard. It's really hard to get on the brakes at an abrasive racetrack on worn tires, because you can easily spin out, lock it up. So the fact that you can't see a damn thing, you can't see 2 feet in front of you, that's kind of unfortunate for Bubba Wallace. That just added on to his kind of, painful day. He was running multiple laps down anyways. And then the end of the race would come around and Kevin Harvick would be in the lead, and really no one would be able to touch him. It's that simple. When you have a car that fast that Kevin Harvick did, most of the time you're going to win the race, as long as nothing really screws you over, no pit stop mistakes, no speeding penalties. And Harvick, he did that last year. He actually had a speeding penalty, so that didn't happen, and he actually went on to win the race and give a nice little tribute to Dale. Do it for Dale, the nice little number 3 that he did 17 years prior in 2001. Now let's look at your top 10. So we have Kevin Harvick, Brad Keselowski, Clint Bowyer, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., Joey Logano, Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch, Kyle Larson, and Chase Elliott, surprisingly somehow getting in 10th. And what you could obviously notice, those Fords, Kevin Harvick, Brad Keselowski, Clint Bowyer, very strong. So probably a little bit surprising, but then again, Atlanta, in my opinion, Atlanta's kind of a one-off racetrack. Once you go to Vegas, and then after that, I would say Texas, you'll kind of see what people are going to have. And even then, you're going to have to wait a little bit. I would say give it until Charlotte, And once you see what goes on around May, then you can start making predictions for who's going to be, super duper fast. And so I wouldn't take too much weight, as I would say, into what's going on these first couple of races. For example, will Hendrick suck just like they did last year? I don't think so. I think the Camaros are just... It's going to take time. I predicted this. It's going to take time for the Chevys, for the bow ties, to get used to the Camaro. Once they do, I think they'll be lethally fast. So once that happens, you never know when it will. It might not even happen this year. It could not happen this year, but expect it to happen sometime in the summer. Not to Jimmie Johnson, because Jimmie always, struggles in the summer. But sometime right around when the playoffs are about to start, you might see those bow ties starting to strengthen up. Once you see Kyle Larson start to really get it going, that's when you'll see all the bow ties kind of follow suit. And you just got to wait for that. Some more overreactions. I think Kevin Harvick's going to win the championship. Obviously, I'm not going to take too much of this first race, and neither should you guys. It's really just the first mile-and-a-half race at a track that's incredibly bumpy and unique, and I don't think you're going to see a lot carry over. Like, for example, Martin Truex Jr. was really just an afterthought today. I mean, nothing really happened with him. He did finish in the top 5, but prior to, let's say, like, what happened last year, where he would finish first or second every race, he was really quiet. He ran around 8th and 10th and then 7th and ended up finishing 5th. I mean, the caution fell his way, and that's why he could finish 5th, and that was really it. So, and I expect Truex to be a little bit faster than he was. So, again, don't take too much, things to, take away from Atlanta. It's just not, it's not where it really holds a lot of accountability. I don't know what words I'm saying. Just don't take too much away from it. Obviously, the big disappointment, like I touched on before, was Hendrick. Chase Elliott finishing 10th, which was pretty amazing. The caution fell his way at the end, and he was able to just salvage a top 10. That car was terrible for most of the day. As long as William Byron and Alex Bowman, again, cars not very good. Alex Bowman right at the beginning of the race was able to gain 12 spots, but that's because his young self was driving the brains out of that car and quickly abused his tires. And the second you saw the 88 go from 20th to, let's say, 8th, you know he was going to fall like a rock, and he did. You can't abuse the tires like that, ever. You're not going to go anywhere. Jimmie Johnson, obviously, with 27th place finish. Hendrick, obviously, not too off to a good start. I expected Chase Elliott to be the best out of the bunch, and he is. But just wait and see. Really, you can't really say anything about Hendrick right now. They have to get a hold on the Camaros. They really missed the setup all weekend this week. They just weren't prepared. Let's see what they do at Vegas. Let's see what they do at tracks like Bristol and Richmond. Let's see what they do at Texas. Again, I think they could struggle at Auto Club as well. Just wait. Just be patient. Let's see what they do. And other than that, that is pretty much it for Atlanta. Atlanta is a tough race to, I would say, judge, because as a driver and as a racer, you have a lot of appreciation for it. Atlanta is so much fun to drive, so much fun. It's insanely it's insane how bumpy it is and how awesome it is. And that probably was the last race you're gonna see like that, because it's probably gonna get repaved. And depending on what repave they use, hopefully, I pray it's not the kind of asphalt they've been using the last couple of tracks that they've repaved, a la Texas, Kansas, Kentucky, those kind of tracks, because the way they're repaving the tracks is kind of like they're using this asphalt that's such good quality. It's like highway quality, but these are racetracks. These aren't highways, and you want the track to at least age a little bit. And Michigan, for example, is a really good example. Michigan hasn't aged because the asphalt they use, that all that stuff they use to repave the track just isn't aging like it should. So if we could actually go back in time 15 years and get whatever the heck we were using to repave the tracks back then, let's just go back and get that and do it now at Atlanta. You'll be able to keep the characteristic of the track, and after a few years, the characteristics of the bumps and the layout of the track will still be there. But if they use this stupid highway kind-esque, asphalt like what they did also at Daytona, you can tell Daytona is not aging. Talladega isn't really aging, and it's because they use this asphalt that is actually too good, and the track's never really gonna age for another 20 years. So hopefully they use an asphalt that's not I don't know. I don't know much about it. I'm probably just spitting a bunch of hoopla, but just don't lose the characteristic of what Atlanta was. And obviously it does have to be repaved, so just get it done, I guess, and get it over with. Next week is Atlanta. I think that will be a much bigger race to see what is really going to be happening the rest of the season. But again, don't take too much into what happens the last couple of weeks or the next couple of weeks. Because I remember last year, I thought Chase Elliott was going to be a dominant car because he ran like second and third for the first 5 weeks, and then I was completely wrong. So just don't, be too far on who's going to be fast and who's not going to be. I'm not expecting the Fords to be like dominant the entire year. I just don't see it. So just wait. Let's see what happens. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what you thought of the race. I'm going to go study, and I'll see you guys later. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Please like the video if you want. If not, I'm sorry, and I hope you don't hate me. I'll see you guys later, and peace out. I can't change. Even if I tried, even if I wanted to, and I can't change. Even if I tried. My love, she keeps me warm.